Okay, so getting into the Halloween theme, that's not face paint, I promise. So I'm going to talk about empowering communities through gamified experiences. Andy's just ruined the surprise that it's not the first time I've done this talk, but hopefully it's better. If you don't know me, my name's Ian. I run Avark, a Web3 design studio established in 2020. We focus on Web3 interactive experiences. We focus on UX, UI, branding, design, all that good stuff. Got the team here as well. They're all sat at the front so they can eyeball me and try and put me off. That's nice. So what have we noticed at Avark over the last 6 to 9 months? We've learned that hype-led growth is dead. And now it's all about community product-led growth. So what does that mean? So let's go back 4 years. In the last bull run, all you had to do really was create a Twitter account, do a promo video, get some KOLs. People didn't know what KOLs were back then. And that would be enough to pump your token, get it going. And honestly, the amount of products that actually never got out the door was incredible. Not to be negative about like the scene back then, but that was hype-led growth, and it worked. It worked 4 years ago. So 4 years later, and this new cycle, everyone's a lot more cynical. People are very aware of what KOLs are now, and people are very cautious about spending their money and backing something with their time. So this is why community product-led growth is the next movement with this, and I'm going to explain my thinking with this and give some examples as well. There you go, I had to get the Halloween memes in there. So airdrops have got a bad rep. When people think of airdrops, they think of bots. They think of bots on Twitter, people airdrop farming, people on YouTube doing videos where it takes 10 minutes and you do $10 and you'll get an airdrop and so on. But I think airdrops are really good if they're done in the right way, because Web3 is all about sharing and being invested together on this journey. If you can incentivize your users from the start and give them some of the share of the wins, then they'll come all the way on that journey with you. So how have airdrops evolved? So put your hand up if you got the Uniswap airdrop. Yeah, OGs, yeah. Okay. So, it's a long time in crypto really. 2020, the Uniswap airdrop was probably the big bang for this kind of thing. If I remember correctly, it was probably about $800 that you got, and you only had to do maybe 2 transactions to actually get that. So if you were buying like a token for like $50, maybe you bought 2, you'd essentially get that. And it was quite a shock really that you're getting essentially free money. There was one person in our office, I'm not going to name names, but it was running around like a blue ass fly because they need to get this money out before it all dumped because everyone's getting the airdrop. But yeah, it was good times. So that's what sort of started that off with the airdrops, and it just happens that Bitcoin went parabolic as well straight after that. I don't know if that's a coincidence, liquidity, whatever. So then we moved on to products actually taking airdrops a little bit further, making users interact with their products, their chains a little bit further. They had the seasons and so on. Blur's an NFT marketplace, if you don't know. So that was the next phase of that. Then more recently, maybe in the last year or so, third-party tools like Zeely and Galaxy have become really popular. Questing, doing referrals, getting points and stuff like that, and you can sort of integrate into Discord and so on and so on. That's been something that people have bolted on to increase their sort of user engagements and stuff like that. But what I want to talk about today is, and some of the stuff that we've been doing over the last 6 months, is how can we take that onto the next level now? And that's custom gamified platforms. How can we take all these bits and pieces, the questing, the referrals and so on, and how can we integrate that into a brand story? And that's kind of like what we're seeing now with a lot of our clients, probably about 5 or 6. So it's evolving. So let's make gamified experiences from the start. So this is the kind of thing that we're seeing now at Avark. We make the socials, obviously, because that's what everyone does when you've got a good idea that probably never goes anywhere, but make the socials, and then at the end of that, the end of this journey, you've got your product launch. When that would be, you don't know, but you know that's the sort of the end goal. How this was probably 4 years ago when I was talking about the hype-led growth, you'd make your socials, you'd do you'd pump the shit out of it, and you'd get like so many people like raving about getting the KOLs. You'd launch your token, that'd do quite well if it was in a bull run as well. And like I said, some of the products never even got out the door. Like the money was spent, and the bear market came, and so on. But in this cycle, this is where the gamified social campaigns come in, because when you get this product, you don't want to be waiting all that time until the token launch. Your token will just flop basically if you've not got the user base. That's what everyone wants in this industry now. You need solid organic users. So this is what gamified social campaigns can do for you, and I think it's really good too, because it's not just you start here, you launch your product, you have this sort of middle ground where you can talk to your users and build those up, and it's very organic in that sense. So that's the last one, I think, the Halloween references, but I'm going to show you an example. I was told at the talk in Scotland by Andy over there that, was it you? Yeah, but I don't think it was you actually. I need to show an example of what I'm going to speak about. So this is a video that Andy's going to play. Gives you a little bit of an idea of like lingo and stuff. So Lingo's like an RWA company. They reward people if they use like the flights and hotels and so on. Yeah, go and play. Yeah, don't you start with me. No hecklers allowed. You can talk about that in a minute. So yeah, like these are all the different islands, the interactions, just done in a different way in a cohesive story. I'm going to talk through some of these points in a minute, but I just wanted to let you see the animation, how interactive it is, and how it's sort of very brand-led in terms of the visuals. So when we talk about like Galaxy and questing and stuff like that out the box, this is what I'm talking about in terms of bringing that through to your product, doing custom design and custom build, and sort of taking it to that next level in a gamified way, essentially. Yep, next one. Oh, yeah. Okay, so just the metrics to back this up. It did really well. Shout out to the Lingo team, because they were really good. Shout out to the Avark team at the front. Worked really hard on it as well. 10 million tweets, 8-week campaign, 150k in terms of email sign-ups in 2 weeks. 15 million raised off the back of this as well. So it did really well, went viral. I don't know if you've seen it, maybe not, but anyway. So 5 insights that we learned over the last 6 or 9 months to help you do your own gamified campaign. Now I think you can do this kind of stuff as long as you've got the creativity behind it and you plan it from the start. I think you can do it in a different sort of scale. You just have to have that sort of intention to do it in the right way. So let's start with number 1. So Lingo, we're very focused on travel. So you book the hotels, which they would own, real world asset, and then if you booked it through them, they'd make the profit, that go back into token. Not financial advice, by the way. But the idea with this is we made it into a travel experience. You go into 5 different islands, sort of feeding into the brand story, making it relatable, something that makes sense. So we also came up with, you've got XP, everyone knows what XP is, I'm sure, but the metric that you measure, we call this air miles to sort of feed into the brand. So the second one, this is quite important really, to get the viral aspect of it and the creativity going, making people brand ambassadors for your product too. So reward the users with XP for creating content. So if people created content, they would be, the Twitter algorithm, the API would pull through how many likes it got, how many shares it got, and stuff like that, and then you'd be rewarded with air miles. And then they'd also, in the Discord, choose 10 of the most creative posts and reward them directly too. Some of the content was really creative, like one person did an educational rap, been through the white paper and did a rap. It was pretty cool. It's that one in the middle. Some people made merch with the Lingo logo on it. So lots of people made sort of mid-journey images talking about really digging deep into the white paper, learning about what this product is. And that's the really interesting thing that makes it really organic, is because they're doing it, but they're being incentivized with this airdrop that I spoke about earlier. And before you know it, you've got these brand ambassadors that are really engaged with the platform that you've created. So when they would come to the platform, Lingo Islands, we'd give them the dopamine hit of spinning the wheel, and they'd get a card. So I'm going to show that in a second. But that's another good key point really. You've got to keep them coming back every day. I'm sure you've been on these things before, like mobile app games. You get rewarded by coming back every day, and you get more and more boosts. And that's really key. We can do this in Web3, we can do it with websites. So this sort of setup is called a gacha, again, a buzzword that I've just learned. But the idea here is when you spin the wheel, you'd pick one of the cards up. Then they've got the different scarcities. So it's harder to get the legendary one as it would be the common. You collect your air miles by creating the content, referring people, and so on. There's loads of metrics of how you could earn those. And then you spin the wheel. The mythical one, which is the gold one that's off the screen, that would give you a guaranteed allocation of the airdrop. So there's lots of rewards there to get if you put the time in, be creative, and become part of the community, which I think is really interesting compared to 4 years ago. And then referral rate is huge in this sort of this different way of acquiring organic users. So to get it to go viral, that's what you need. You need people to enjoy what they've just done and say, this is different. And what happened here was, you have the usual thing like, refer a friend, you get this, you get that. But this was limited to 10, because if you give someone the challenge to refer as many people as they can, that's a little bit overwhelming. But 10 is probably achievable. So setting it at 10 was quite impactful. And then you got a special pre-sale price if you reach that. And the interesting part about that we found was that people just carried on doing it because they got used to it. Obviously be rewarded with XP and stuff like that, air miles, but they just carried on. So it's getting them to that first 10 that's really important as well. And then the final one, which is probably the most important one and the most consistent one that we see across all the different things that we're working on at the moment, is the leaderboard. And that is the gamification of the whole thing. So what you need to do is you need people to see that their time and effort is being calculated and put into a metric. So on this example here, I'll stand out of the way, the top 10 would get like a special perk. Can't remember exactly what it was now, but and the key here as well is, and everyone can take a little part of this away, when you do this interim sort of campaign, you can take these metrics through to your main product. So when your main product starts, you don't want all your users to start on 0. So you can take these metrics through and have a hierarchy of users that have contributed to your ecosystem and success. And I think that's really strong as well. I think that's really important, because those top 10 people, you know, probably care about your brand. You can make them super users, you could get them in testing groups and so on. And, you know, coming from a UX design agency, getting those people and doing the testing and stuff like that, it's really important. And also, you know, creating tiers and getting that dopamine going, so that, you know, if they just do this, they're going to go into the next tier and they'll get this and so on. Before you know, you spent 10 hours and you don't know where you are, but that's the idea. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so key takeaways, I'm wrapping up now. Community product-led growth is the way to do this type of thing. Hype-led growth is old and dead. Empowering communities through gamified experiences is the way to go about building like organic things. And I don't know if you've heard of a buzzword called sociify. That's essentially what I think this is. You spend your time, energy, and you're rewarded in that way through the airdrop, which, you know, your time and energy is worth something, and that's sociify for me. And the last thing I'll say, great design, gamified rewards, dopamine actions, hooking users, drive organic growth via the most authentic acquisition source, which is word of mouth. You can't beat it. So there you go, I'm done. Yes.